it.
Hello out there, and thanks for joining us on Political Platform. It's one that we have all the details and the analysis of the reports we have gathered for you in the last 24 hours. I am Okiri Agbonsu Remi. Then Ayo Fayose is meeting, or he did, is holding a dialogue, a continued one with hunters in Ekiti State. Now, according to him, he will not ask Abuja to help him, because Abuja itself needs help. So he has enlisted the support of everybody in Ekiti, including the hunters, so that there will be no need crying like the governor of Benue State to Abuja and weeping in the open and crying and telling everybody to come and help him. Ayo Fayose says he will not come to Abuja. He has the capacity to mobilize his people to help himself. There's a law in place in the Ekiti State that bans movement of open grazing and movement of cattle from one place to the other, and that law is enforced, and that he and his hunters and all those who are around, I wouldn't know, I will ask Adebayo Boduri when we get there, if because Adebayo Boduri is from Ekiti State, if the hunters went there to the meeting with their Dane guns, so that to tell the people that they are ready. Now, seriously speaking, the NIA has a new boss, Ahmed Rufai Abubakar. He is the immediate SSA, that is Senior Special Assistant to the President on Foreign Affairs and International Relations to the President. So the President has simply pulled his man right from under his just his office there to go to the NIA to go and be the substantive DG of the NIA. And the one that is troubling us, and we have to talk about it in addition to the issues we are raising, is the continued detention of Ezza Zaki and the insistence on his continued being in detention by the authorities, and then the never say die followers of Ezza Zaki, who are on the streets every day and every time. Even when they suffer arrest, we hear that over 50 of them have been arrested by the police, but they are continuously. And what is beautiful about their protests is that their protests have been peaceful. They just carry banners and they walk on the streets in parts of Abuja. And the question we are asking is, why is Ezza Zaki still under detention in spite of the court orders asking him to be released? We have a lot more to talk about. And remember, we are still talking on the what did we call it yesterday? The one that we cannot understand, that is the cattle colony. I don't know if anybody has found a explanation for it. But yesterday, Ijoma Osama was at the Independent National Electoral Commission, where a new set of political parties got certificates. We have a lot to tell you on this program today, and Ijoma Osama is right here in the studio. Ijoma, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Okiria. And it will even surprise you to know that aside those 22 newly registered and even given certificate political party, the chairman of INEC told us yesterday that 90 applications are already on his table, and they are looking into it. So don't be surprised that before
and 61 others couldn't meet the specification.
From this last one.
Yes.
The 90 applications
are fresh.
So before 2019 elections,
we could have up to 100 political
maybe
parties.
about 1,000.
That is Adebayo Boduri joining us. Adebayo, now, did you attend the meetings of the hunters? Because I know you have family of hunters.
Well, you see, I think one might look at it from the moral side. One also have to look at it deeply. The totality of it is that security issue in this country should be of concern to all Nigerians. One government official said yesterday that the number of people killed so far are not up to what happened in the previous administration.
When you say minister, please can you be specific? Who is the minister that says so?
No, an aide of the president.
Who is that one that says so?
Femi Adesina.
We should mention his name. He's our friend.
So
Femi Adesina says the number of people who have been killed now are not out of the number of people who have been killed before in the previous administration.
We
just put it the way it is. Because we are not comparing how many cow, how many fowl have been killed yesterday during this Christmas and the other Christmas.
We should be conscious of the fact that security in the last 5, 6, 7 years in this country has been a touchy issue, and people are worried. I am worried as a citizen of Nigeria, and I think we should deeply look into it and seek a way of resolving this problem rather than playing politics with it.
All right.
If a state governor should come up and said is raising hunters and all the rest, it's because maybe it's out of his own concern.
Frustration that the police cannot do it.
So, and it's a good thing that the Inspector General of Police went to Benue yesterday, apologized to them. But beyond that apology is that there must be a serious concern to tackle this problem of herdsmen's attack.
Okay.
It's a serious problem.
I also have Amechi, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's not just Samuel Otom that came to Abuja to cry. Ugwai, after the Nimbo Zowani massacre, also shed tears uncontrollably. And like Fayoshe said, he won't run to Abuja to cry. Like you said, he insists Abuja needs help, and he's offering himself help. In Benue State, the police told us they arrested militiamen, about 9 of them, and with AK-47.
Yes.
And they were linked to Benue State government, but Benue State government denied. It tells me that to the extent that we are now having militia, the people have completely lost confidence in the ability of the security agencies to help them. So they are beginning to resort to self-help. And that is what is happening in Ekiti State, where the governor has mobilized hunters. He may be right, he may be wrong, but history will forgive him for being wrong. History will remember him for taking an action. But history will not forgive you for not taking any action. The reactions that we are not taking elsewhere, history will not be kind to them. But history will be kind to Fayoshe for taking action, even though it could be a wrong action. I'm talking of the issue of the new parties. Originally, it was 21 parties that were to be registered. But out of court order, one was brought in, making it 22. And if you take a look at our Electoral Act, once a political association submits an application to INEC, I'm not certain again is whether it's after 30 or 60 days, INEC fails to act on it, they are deemed to automatically become political parties. So I think it could be on that basis that the association went to court. We have sent in our application. You have to answer to us within this time frame.
Or we assume
we assume we are political parties. Now this other 60 applications may also take that lane to go to tell the court that since INEC has not told us anything,
they have satisfied the legal,
we should become political parties. So we should be taking a look at over 100 political parties for 2019 election.
Well, it will still be less than with the 1,000 that Adebayo Bodiri spread it. Well, let's go to our mailbox, politicalplatform@yahoo.com. We always want to share your views. Let us know what you always what you see on the political turf in Nigeria. Wherever you are listening to us, whether on radio or on TV or on YouTube, you are watching, then let us hear what you think about the issues in Nigeria. Now, this morning, let's share those that we have.
Thank you very much, Uhiria. Welcome to the mail segment. I am Etenikang Akepu.
And I am Aladi Doku. Welcome.
And we begin with reactions to the 2019 election timetable released by INEC. And Jeremiah Oluwole from Alagbadu in Lagos State says, the Independent National Electoral Commission recently released the timetable for the 2019 general elections. Now the political temperature of the country will be very high. All the governors, the president, national and state assembly members will forget about governance to start mobilizing for re-election. When can we have true leaders in this country that will put the people first? The Awolowos, Azikiwes, Aminu Kanus and other nationalists will be weeping for Nigeria when they look down from heaven to see what is happening here. God help Nigeria.
Still in that light, Amechi Obochi from Kubwa in Abuja says, the INEC has released its timetable for the 2019 general election in Nigeria, showing when the processes of conducting each election. A good move, but my question is, what is APC as a ruling party up to? APC as a ruling party is yet to conduct an elective convention since the first one that produced Oyego and other officers of the party. Anyway, there is still ample time for APC to organize its convention, but the earlier this is done, the better for the party, so as to have enough time to pacify would-be aggrieved party members. I therefore urge the leaders of the party to put the fear of the unknown aside and conduct a national convention that will take the party into 2019 general elections.
And Irabo from Ibadan in Oyo State reacts to the IG's apology. He says, I see the IGP's apology to Benue people over Benue killings as a big fallacy. He apologized because he wants a warm reception from Benue people after he was ordered by President Buhari to relocate to Benue State. Truth be told, if he were to remain in Abuja, he wouldn't have apologized for calling Benue killings a communal clash and not herdsmen attack. I also see President Buhari's action towards Benue killings as political and insincere. It is towards 2019 and not because he cares about Benue people. Yes, if he really cares, he would have declared Mayati Allah a terrorist organization the same way he did to Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB members. God save Nigeria.
And the increase of, and that's all we can accommodate on today's mail segment. To keep your mails coming, the route hasn't changed. It's political platform at yahoo.com.
Thank you so much, and always enjoy your mail. We continue to apologize to those whose mails are not taken. Of course, it's because of the time. We have a very, very short time, but we always assure you that we get through those mails and they enrich our understanding of the issues, particularly from your angle. There's a meeting in the Southeast. That meeting appears to be a bridge. We have repeated on this program that in fact, we can actually categorically say if you are talking of political maturity, political depth, you cannot remove it from the Southwest. They know exactly how to plan ahead. They know how to respect strong views. They know how to get the things appropriately on ground. If you are talking about restructuring now, and if today, for instance, we talk about the zones getting themselves together into a six-part structure of Nigeria so that we can compete favorably, the Southwest will simply zoom off because, like, their engine is already running, they have enough petrol in their vehicle, they have enough research they have done, they have all that they have. They're actually doing integration already. They are doing everything possible. Now, the meeting in the with their southeastern counterparts, Adebayo Bodun, what do you sense? What do you get?
They called it handshake across the Niger.
Well, the theory of handshake across the Niger was propounded by the late Chuba Okadibo, and in his thinking, it will help to reduce mutual antagonism and rivalries. And what the planners said is that
between the Southeast and the Southwest.
And the Southwest. What the planners are saying is that well, there's supposed to be a kind of something that's supposed to bring them together, particularly flowing from the way and manner the late Adekunle Fajuyi, a colonel who was then the governor of Old Western State, laid down his life after the killing of Ironsi, and that they are building on that to ensure that they can ward off antagonism or whatever rivalry they have, and they can work together in such a way that they can advance the cause of their people. But
I'm going to cut you short here because we have other deep parties to talk about.
My worry about this is that where it is good to have a handshake across the Niger, but we must. How do we have a national platform?
No, before we come to national platform, let's go deep into what my understanding of what is happening between now. If you look at the investment in Lagos, the Lagos Axis, if you look at trade that is going on, if you go to Alaba market, it is predominantly, in fact you can speak the Igbo dialect inside our Alaba market and you will not miss it because it is predominantly it is dominated by those from the south.
Even Isolo.
Now, if you go to Ladiko market, if you go to the Igbos, you cannot discount them. That's why they have members of the House of Representatives in the National Assembly from Lagos State, elected by Lagosians to come to this place. And if you talk about the larger Southwest, you remember that Nnamdi Azikiwe won elections in the Southwest those early days, and it was one that so I think the leaders are trying to look at the future They are taking a look at the future. They are thinking, suppose something happens, what are the things that we are supposed to put together to balance our economy such that we do not have any backlash of movement of people? If people feel comfortable in this place and we have a handshake like they are doing now, then whatever happens to Nigeria in future, the Southwest is. That's why I said they have a lot of ingenuity in thinking ahead above every other part of Nigeria.
Here, let's go down the memory lane, like Adebayo Badore tried to do. Alliances between the Southwest and the Southeast is not been very common recently. If not, they share values, they share views, global views. They're almost similar in terms of world values, but politically they rarely agree. But take a look at what happened just before the independence. Just after or before the independence, the 1959 general election that ushered in independence. Our law of the Action Group approached Azikiwe and offered an alliance because no party then, because we were running a parliamentary system of government, had no majority to form government. Awolowo offered prime ministership to Azikiwe and said he's ready to take the ceremonial president so that they can, knowing full well that they share a lot of things in common, can form the government. But Azikiwe, due to some reasons which he said and which have been speculated, refused and rather opted for an alliance with the MPC, Northern People's Congress, and formed the government. And that event helped to a long extent in preventing alliances between these two regions since then. But gradually they are beginning to see that, yes, we share values, we are contiguous, except the River Niger that politically divided the two regions. Let's see how we can come together and begin to exert greater influence in the Nigerian Federation. Whether it will work or not is another issue.
Well, the handshake will have to take along so many other people along the line before they can get to the River Niger, because there are so many other...
they have to pass through your place.
They have to pass through, they have to negotiate with Bender. So that...
before then, the old Midwestern region was part of the Western region.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, before the creation of Midwest.
Okira, let's not even go to far backward to before the creation of the Western region. Just 2014 year, during the national conference, this kind of alliance came up among
the members
there. But something happened along the line, and those from the southeast and south-south couldn't blend with the southwest. And that was why we saw what happened in 2015, that the southwest had to go to form an alliance with those from the north. And for now, if they are looking at that now, I think it is a very good thing, because they need to look at each other and say, what can we do to help each other? Especially now that Nigeria is...
I agree with you. The alliance, if you look at the debate that went on at that national conference, it was not one that you could actually take a particular thing in the black and white to the table. There were just communications, discussed, dialogue that could be taken forward in subsequent meetings that we have. If you will, Adebayo Badore, you watch what happened in the last elections, how the Oba of Lagos almost got goofed. Yes, in fact, you can say goofed, because when he started to say they will be found in the lagoon if they do not vote for his candidate, and since after the election, Ambode, the governor, knew that mistake that was made, so he has tried to gather everybody, offer a handshake to everybody, because he understands the economy of the state is not resting on Lagosians. I mean, when you say Lagosians, I mean the Yorubas alone, who is rest on every other person. Lagos is the only state in Nigeria where people just contest election. There are members of the House of Representatives from Kogi State who contested from Lagos, in Lagos. There are members from, in fact, we can list all of them. Aregbesola, who is governor of Osun State, was commissioner for works.
Your friend Bamidele from Ekiti.
Exactly, all of them. They were all. So it's only in Lagos that you can really. Very cosmopolitan. Yeah, if you are a good politician, you can mix well. No matter where you come from, you can participate. So that is why when the Westerners begin to look at the future and have a handshake, I would not be surprised if they have already assumed that the entire bend there is, which has always have a traditional alliance with the West will not be a difficult. It will not be difficult for them to say, look, we have always been one. Before the creation of Midwest, you were part of the Western Nigeria. So it is one that we need to take a look at. But let's quickly go to the issue of we started it yesterday, but we didn't have time to take a look at it. And that is the issue of the killings that's on in Nigeria and what I call the incompetence and the lack of capacity of the leaders. And I also say to a large extent, Nigerians to address it. Nigeria is a place where everybody have a solution. When they sit down at the beer table, in their parlor, even with families, they sit down and talk about Nigeria. We seem all to have some suggestions on how to go forward. But who bears the cart? That is the question. Because at the end of the day, you do not have a president, you don't have a vice president, you don't have members of the National Assembly, you don't have political leaders who have the will to sit down and look at the face of Nigeria and do the appropriate thing. Everybody is doing politics, from the president to the councillor. We are all doing politics, and that is why the problem is there. And it waters down our very bright sense of the competence that we have, which we display outside. When we go outside of Nigeria to take responsibilities, Nigerians excel. Then there must be a problem that even the president himself, his team, the governors, everybody in Nigeria, up to the drivers who break traffic, who run through traffic lights, they don't think that traffic light was put there to preserve the lives of people. Just little things that is required of us, we do not do it. So all these killings we are seeing, it's not a question of just Muhammadu Buhari. It's a matter of the system. That even if you have somebody, if you put the best of persons there, ask Father Kuka to be president of Nigeria today, he will have a problem. Yeah. I don't even want to go to Jesus Christ that Obasanjo talked about. I mean, locally, that we have people who have bright ideas, integrity, and you ask them to go there, they just fall into the system, turn them upside down.
Same way you get the most perceived corrupt, most perceived incompetent, and most perceived whatever adjective you can bring up in US, it will work out. The system is built in such a way
that whoever gets there,
it tells you that it's a systemic problem. Yes. Just like Barack Obama told us when he came to Ghana, that we prefer strong men instead of strong institutions. Except to the extent that security agencies don't even wait for directives from the president before they do their constitutionally assigned roles. To the extent that they have the resources, manpower, personnel, funds to do it, we'll continue to run into this problem. So we have to devote more time towards making sure that the institutions work. The other day on this program, we were talking about how state independent electoral commissions conduct incredible elections. It's because of the failure of the system at the state level. So we need to begin to strengthen the systems, those that should serve as checks and balance. And that was why even the other day we have so much on the failure of followership in Nigeria. The ability to also to ask questions, it helps to keep the system running.
Now let Adebayo Bodin, before you come, let me give you one example. $43 million was found in the house in Ikoyi. That house didn't jump from the sky. No. The house has a certificate of occupancy in the name of Adamu Mwazu, or whatever the developer. Then there was somebody who was said to have rented that apartment. As we speak, the bank
bought one of them.
The bank that is involved, who says has a proprietary right, some rights over the properties, arguing that look, the house should not be sold. The AFCC is telling everybody that nobody came up, they advertised. I mean, it's a country where a house, we are not talking of a pin, we are not talking of some naira note that fell up on the road, that you say there's nobody's name on it. A house, there's money inside it. And as we are talking, we do not know who owns that house. We do not know who to punish for it. Nobody has been arrested. Nigerians do not know who dropped that, who actually organized that theft that happened. We just merely removed the DGNIA and had a handshake with him, and then everybody just goes away. The Rivers State governor was saying that the money belonged to them, that it was the former governor that organized for the money to nobody. As we are speaking, Nigeria is the only place where we do not get, the president is not sufficiently interested in this matter as to put his feet on the ground to say somebody must be punished, and nothing happens. That is how everything goes. You were reminding me of one.
Senate probe of the allegations of corruption in the NNPC. Immediately it blew up. Everybody trusts Nigerians. Cacophony of voices. Now, what has happened? It has
gone.
The presidency has kept quiet. It's business as usual in the NNPC. The Senate that set up a committee to probe it. Months after, nothing has happened. They initially told us the chairman of the committee went out, he traveled out. When he comes back, the probe will continue.
That's the end.
The thing has died. And it's a continuous development. That's the way Nigeria runs. Rule of the thumb, knee-jerk approach to issues, no systemized way of dealing with problems. And, of course, life goes on.
Well, Ohira, if you take a study of peacekeeping operations across the world, there is none of those reports you will come across where either Nigerian soldiers or Nigerian policemen and women, they were praised. They perform
they are given medals
and they perform creditably. The current Inspector General of Police was in peace operation, United Nations peace operation for 10 years. He earned awards. And so when you look at it, is that the enabling environment for policies to be formulated and implemented is what is lacking in this country. We don't have a system. The system is not being grown. And as long as we just do ad hoc basis policies, implementation and all the rest, so long we continue to have this kind of problem. If you have institutions, very, very strong institutions, and a system that works, we won't be encountering all of this problem we are talking about.
If you permit me to use the percentage, over 90% of Nigerians are so concerned about Nigeria today that some people are willing to run out to Libya by road. They are running away. They are in desperation. Those who came back, they are telling our correspondents that they regret coming back. Yes. Some of them said they would rather have died where they were than coming back to Nigeria. It means we have gotten to a point. I mean, the dog is getting closer to the wall where it will turn back and back, and that is why the government must be very careful in taking seize the moment and begin to do things that will assure us that Nigeria will not indeed implode on itself as we go on, because unemployment rate is high. 7.2 million in the last 2 years have lost their jobs. So many of our young people who have graduated from universities don't have jobs, and it's not playing time at all in Nigeria. All hands must be on deck. Please drop us a note through politicalplatform@yahoo.com and tell us what you think we can do to move forward and avoid whatever evil that is ahead if we do not do the appropriate things right now. Okiri Agbosuremi here. Thanks for joining us.
Bust it.